Hey YouTube, sorry it's been so long. I've just been working really hard right now and I've had no time to devote to my channel. And honestly, this subject is so huge. It's taking so much research and time. But I want to get this video out as quickly as I can. This is a Parasite Protocol video and was requested by my subscribers. It's not my usual type of video, what I usually like talking about, but you know, it is worth getting into the nitty-gritty on this stuff, and I do want to share what's going on with you guys. So I'm going to try to blast right into it and get it out. I want to say first thing, if you happily eat meat and dairy, this video is totally not for you. I honor and respect your choices. No judgment here. Just you're not going to get anything out of this. I'm not really talking to you because it's pointless to do all of this and eat those foods. So come back for my next video, which we're going to talk about more about bigger picture stuff, and we can take a look at that. For those of you who are still eating meat and dairy but are looking to change that, awesome. I'll speak to that first really quick and just say, you know, one step at a time. Quit one meat at a time. Get through that. You know, start getting rid of the dairy. You know, you can't get from here to here in a single leap. You know, you gotta walk over there. So be easy on yourself, be loving to yourself, and just keep up the good work. If you slip up, just get right back on track. And I really support your decision to leave those foods behind you. And then, you know, for those of you who are already on a plant-based diet or close to that, some of you have requested sort of what I eat, the foods that I'm turning to on a plant-based diet. And really, you know, a really good thing that you can do is, I tried to have everything in front of me, I'm going to grab it really quick, is get yourself some different kind of cookbooks, you know. I don't know, I'm just going to grab a couple here that I have, but, you know, get yourself some different material to read and stuff. Like, get yourself some raw cookbooks. I'm not advertising any of these people, but, you know, just get some different, that's funny, greens. Oh, we gotta eat what we gotta eat. I'm gonna go more towards fruits, raw veggies, and sprouted grains. So one of the first things you can do is switch your grains to something like this. This is the Ezekiel bread. I call it Bible bread. And they also make a sprouted. You want sprouted grains. You can sprout your own grains and make your own bread, which really is optimal in the end, and I'll explain that a little later. But they also make these wraps, these sprouted grain wraps, which are nice. So just, you know, start looking for options like that when it comes to your grains. And you want to avoid cooking food in oil. And that's where most vegans are so unhealthy. You know, this isn't about being vegan. This is about choosing the right kinds of plant-based foods and anti-parasitical foods, okay, which I've got a list here of foods that are anti-parasitical. You really don't want to cook a lot of food in oil. I use my oven to heat things up. I'll boil something. I'll boil it and then put it in my oven to brown it or something if I'm going to eat a cooked meal. I eat a lot of partially cooked brown rice. It's funny, somebody left a comment like, oh, you should eat cooked brown rice with raw garlic on it. Do it all the time with avocado on it. It's one of my favorite meals. And one of the things, you know, as you move towards this is you're going to eat less food. You're going to move towards this diet and you're going to find that you're not as ravenously hungry. And I'm going to really try to stay on topic today. But it's the parasite that's hungry, you guys. It's the parasite that you're feeding. And I have so much to say about that, but we're going to stick to the protocols today. So I'm going to read you some of the food that is anti-parasitic food. Feel free to take some notes because these foods are important and you do want to start including them on a regular basis. I mean, raw garlic is huge. I had a week where I was eating a lot of it and it's kind of stinky. I didn't really like that about it, so I have to measure how much I'm going to take in of the raw garlic that I can stand where it doesn't feel like it smells gross to me because it is a very potent food. But I did better on my protocol that week when I was including the raw garlic. So raw garlic, raw onions. And keep in mind, when you slice open an onion, you need to eat that onion right away because onions gather and collect bacteria and everything around them really rapidly. That's why they're so good raw for your system. So if you leave an onion laying around that's cut open or in your fridge, it's already absorbed everything gross that's around you. So keep that in mind with onions. You want to cut it and get it in you. Fresh ginger. Pineapple, fresh pineapple. Papaya is super anti-parasitical, and even those like chewable papaya enzymes that you can buy are great. Include those. They're great for digestion. They're anti-parasitic. Pomegranates, and grapefruits. And when I mention some of these fruits and stuff, the seed is what's super anti-parasitic. So like grapefruit seed extract is a really, really great anti-parasitic. If you have a juicer, always juice the seeds and the rind and the whole thing, because that way you get all of the nutrition that's there and all the anti-parasitic properties that are in that fruit. Okay, fresh figs, blackberries, thank goodness, right? Delicious. Cranberries, coconuts. I really recommend a coconut fast. Is a really great fast. You get those like a case of young Thai coconuts and the meat and the water. 10 days. What a great flush. Anyway, beets, carrots, pumpkin seeds, plantain leaf, cayenne, more of herbs here, fennel. Put these in a soup and find different ways to eat them. Horseradish, like fresh horseradish and wasabi. And be careful, don't buy it in a jar. They put egg in those and all kinds of horrible ingredients. So, these foods have to be fresh and they have to be real whole foods. Fenugreek. Fenugreek, it's so funny. I know that just carrying fenugreek around is supposed to ward off demons. So I thought that was interesting when I found it under anti-parasitic foods. Sprouts and seeds. So that's why you're eating the sprouted grains and stuff. A sprouted seed is one of the best foods, maybe the best food that you could possibly put in your body. And in grocery stores now, they're starting to sell sprouts, not just the alfalfa ones, but all kinds of delicious sprouts that you can buy in the produce section. And then it's really easy, just in your kitchen, under a skylight, in a window. Just start sprouting sprouts and chopping them off every day and putting them in your smoothies and putting them on your salad, on your toast, whatever. You can find a million ways to eat sprouts. They're delicious. So start including those. Seeds, of course, radishes, beet greens. And then there's also like super green nutrients and stuff that are also a really good thing to add to your diet. Okay, so where should we go from there? No cooked oils. Yeah, we're going to get through this. Okay, so I was going to have that here. It doesn't matter. Citrus, lemons specifically. You really need to include lemon water in your daily routine all the time. Be drinking lemon water. You can put some of these herbs in it and make your own concoctions and stuff. But there's so many reasons to be drinking lemon water. It isn't just anti-parasitic, but it is also anti-biofilm from like something like the Lyme disease, which I will say here in this video, everybody's got Lyme disease. As the further I got into this whole thing, which has been such a journey, you guys, and I admit I've also been really sick from the things that I've been working through here with this getting rid of parasites in the body. So biofilms, which can also be created from some staph infection as well too, which is pretty rampant. People have these things and we don't know it. And what I'm discovering about the Lyme disease, everybody has it across the board, and it is responsible for more than you would ever want to know. And I got into some really mainstream information about Lyme disease, and all the people there who've really been carrying this around in an acute fashion, because when you get it in an acute way, they'll diagnose you with it. But they have a million other diagnoses for Lyme disease, like arthritis, blurry vision, what's that one where everyone's just in pain all the time and there's no reason for it, like MS, fibromyalgia. They're calling it all this different stuff, but it is parasitic. All health issues, these are all parasitic. I mean, it's shocking when you really start to see it. And as I've been doing the parasite stuff too, you wouldn't believe the the downloads I've had and the dreams and the knowing about the way they control my thoughts. Anyway, that's a different video. So let's stick to this stuff. The lemon water was where we were at. So let's go to, oh yeah, we talked about the papaya. We talked about seeds, papaya seeds, also really, really good. Let's go to herbs. And herbs are really, really where it's at. I might not be able to do it right now when I upload this video, but at some point I'm going to get a link on there to people who do tinctures for this stuff, so you guys can go and buy some of this stuff. And, you know, go out and do your own research on this stuff. People know what they're talking about. There's a lot of information out there. But here are the herbs. Wormwood. And this one's mentioned in the Bible, and it is essential. So wormwood, mugwort, American worm seed, black walnut. I don't even know how to say this one. Pau d'arco. Look it up. Clove, cayenne, which we mentioned in the food, cinnamon. What did I write here? Not cassia cinnamon. So I guess that's worth looking into. Maybe I'll mention that again later. Cardamom, thyme, nutmeg, mace, turmeric, oregano, olive leaf, Artemisia absinthium, okay, Artemisia annua, which is safer. That one's the safer one. So Artemisia annua. And then echinacea, golden seal, gold thread, Oregon grape, barberry, neem leaf, sage. So, you know, you can look up what other people are doing in combinations of these, create your own. Just always look up safety stuff with the herbs. But, you know, like we have a nutrition store here in town that's got all this stuff. And you can find out what works better with your protocol. Now, I'm going to show you what we've been doing. And, you know, caution, you guys, I'm going to tell you the full scope of what's been going on with this. So what we did is we started taking this. And this is like a drench for animals, okay? But it is, here is the name of it. I wrote the N wrong. I tried to write it backwards. Albendazole. Okay, that's what it's called. It is a broad spectrum dewormer. And so it's for cattle, sheep, and goats. But it is the exact same medicine that they would give you in a hospital if you were to go in there and had tapeworms everywhere or something like that. This is what they would give you. So it is given to people as well. It's FDA approved, blah, blah, blah. But it controls liver flukes, tapeworms, stomach worms, including 4-stage inhibited larvae, intestinal worms and lung worms, and adult liver flukes. Okay, so albendazole. So we got this stuff, and there's 5 of us who are doing it. One's in their late 20s, one's in their 30s, 2 are in their 40s, and 1 is 65. Okay, and caution, caution, caution. So when we started doing this, we were like, well, let's just take the full dose for, like, let's pretend we're a sheep. And so we did it in conjunction with the sheep directions and took a full dose. And the first week we were fine. I maybe noticed a couple of things. Oh, the first thing you notice is your mouth, that you can talk better. I think I mentioned that in my last video. And then so the second week that we all took it, except for the very youngest people, everybody else got a Herxheimer reaction. And a Herxheimer reaction it's mainly associated with Lyme disease, but it's basically just means die-off. So it can be the die-off of any parasite within the body. And it is hell, you guys. It is a really hard road. I mean, I cannot even express enough how hard it is. But so it's got flu-like symptoms, trouble breathing, the rash. The rashes were bad, your itchy skin, and your chest, the trouble breathing, it's like you have this hollow feeling in your chest that just feels kind of scary, is the way that we all agreed that it felt. And you can get like boils, like big pimples and stuff like that, and bruises were pretty much the majority of the symptoms that everybody had. But like rashes starting on your chest, going all the way up your neck, all the way up your face. My hands had it really badly because, you know, I've been farming my whole life. So I've had my hands in the dirt a lot in my life. So I've really felt like that was part of why it got me so bad there personally. So once we had severe Herxheimer reactions, we went, whoa, we need to back off this stuff a little bit. And so we did more research and found that usually when a human takes this stuff, they're going to take it in much smaller doses over a longer period of time. And so, what did I write here? I've got so many notes over this. So basically, one of the things, because we went after it so hard, I do feel that there were also a lot of really good things that came out of it, like the release of our jaw and mouth and speech. Even in the youngest people to the oldest people, it was really something. Like one of us talks in our sleep a lot, and it always sounded like they were underwater. Suddenly you can hear every word they say. Singing, playing instruments, suddenly way easier. And a calm too, a desire to speak less, to be in less speech, and an understanding kind of what the parasite was doing and controlling within our body. That was really huge. So even though everybody went through Herxheimer, and some people had it on their chest here, the rashes. Some people had rashes show up in different places. Everybody had something go on with their eye. A lot of people just felt something kind of go like this away from their eye. A big bruise under the eye for one person. The oldest person really suffered a lot, and they've gone down to a really, really tiny amount. But they're still in the game because their hip pain's gone away. A bunch of their arthritis pain went away. So this is hardcore, you guys, and I'm not even suggesting that you do it, but I am going to tell you that we did it and that we're doing it, and you just buy it at like a farm supply store. And you're warned, you know, this can make you face, like if you work a job all the time and you have to be somewhere, you're taking care of kids and you can't get sick like that, go really slow. If you're going to do it, go really slow. But, you know, I would suggest, you know, going after some of these herbs, these herbal remedies and tinctures and stuff like that, because, you know, you can more slowly ease your way into a diet. I think you've got to change the diet first, because you're just, you know, the meat and dairy is just constantly reintroducing the eggs into your system. It's constant. But what I'm finding too, it's pretty interesting that a lot of foods reintroduce it into your system. And this is why I'm talking about cleanliness all the time. You've got to be clean. You have got to bathe every day. You've got to wash your hands before you eat, or you're just reintroducing it into your system constantly, because it's everywhere. It's in the water. It's in the dirt. It's around. It's on your animals. Our animals have been treated. So let's talk about water really quick. So I make distilled water is the only safe water, you guys. I wish I could bathe in it. I'm trying to figure out how to have it in larger quantities, but I mean, you can buy it by the jug, like at the store. It's okay, Wally. You can buy it at the jug, you know, in a jug at the store, but I would recommend like storing it in glass or copper or something at home and getting it out of that plastic jug. And then this is how I make mine at home. Take a big pot, okay, and I put a rack in the bottom. This is the rack I have, but any kind of rack, like those steamer racks or just those flat racks that you'd put cookies on or something, and you put that down in the bottom. And then you take a nice glass bowl, here's my glass bowl, and you stick it on the rack, and you fill that with water, you know, up to a safe spot where it's not going to boil over into your glass pot. Okay, you put that on the stove, get the water hot and bubbling, and then, you know, turn the temperature down to like a 3 or something like that. Get a lid and put the lid over the top. And what the lid does, this is actually not the right lid, but it doesn't matter. The steam is going to come up, it's going to hit that lid, and it's going to gather and drop down into your bowl, giving you distilled water. And that's just like a cheap homemade way to make your own distilled water. Then I take, you know, when it's done, I take my glass bowl out and I fill up mason jars with it and put them in the pantry or put them in the fridge, however you like your water. I like mine room temperature. So that's how I make homemade distilled water. It's the only water I drink is distilled water, you know, steam collected water. They also make distilled water machines that you can buy for your house. If you have the money to invest in a distilled water machine, do it. Absolutely do it. It's the only clean water. So the other thing I've taken to do with the distilled water is I brush my teeth with it. You know, anything orally. And then enemas. Okay, we're gonna talk about enemas, because let's really quickly talk about biofilms. So, oh boy, I got all kinds of people wanting to buy my old chicken coop. Here we go. So biofilms, you guys, are something that you can read about it a lot with Lyme disease. And Lyme disease is so fucking gross, okay? But basically any parasite that's in you, I just pulled my hair out, any parasite that's in you is shitting and creating a mess. So there's that film. I think a lot of poop that people poop isn't even their own poop. Let's talk about this too. So you've got these biofilms in you, and I want to talk really quickly about what the Lyme disease does is that it hides in your body. So, and it uses these biofilm spaces, and some of them are in your brain. For some people who are super infected, I think. I don't know how far it goes, but a lot of it's going to be in your intestines. Which you can do stuff about. So the Lyme disease, the parasite sits in there, and it takes sugar and it coats itself in sugar, and then it takes this aspect of your blood, doesn't matter. It takes like a protein out of your blood, and it coats itself in that, so it can hide. It can hide from your immune system by using your own body fluid, and so it's wrapped in the sugar, it's wrapped in your blood, and then it hides against the wall of something like your large intestine or somewhere in the body, and it uses that as like a, well, I'm going to talk more about later, place so it can communicate with all the other little parasites, and it uses like little straws within its little sac to eat and to poop and to breed and to talk to each other. Okay, so and it can hide deep in your body, and it is what ages you. Okay, this is what causes menopause. I mean, this is why we're here like dying like this, is because of this insect infestation, you guys. So biofilms are a real deal. And so let's see, what order should we do this in? Let's do it mucoid plaque. So mucoid plaque is in your small intestines, and it's basically this nasty shit that builds up in there over time and eating and life. And this is an amazing recipe, and there's variations of this recipe. And you basically just take a mason jar, like a quart jar. Why don't I have that here? I'm coming and going. I'm sorry, you guys. I have just been crazy busy. Okay. So you're going to take a quart jar like this, and you're going to put 2 cups of distilled water into the jar. You're going to put 2 tablespoons of active bentonite clay. Okay, you're going to put a tablespoon of chia seeds, a tablespoon of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk fiber. Great stuff. I mean, I take psyllium husk all the time. It really helps clear you out. and 2 capsules, you just empty the capsules into it, of activated charcoal. All right, and give it a nice, and drink it 2 times every day, an hour before you eat, like on an empty stomach, so an hour before you eat early in the day, and then an hour before you go to bed. And you're going to do that for, you can do it till you poop out some mucoid plaque. And if you don't know what mucoid plaque is, go and look it up on the internet. It's going to look like your intestines, it's going to be like this big thing that you poop out, and it's black, and it's going to be all like wavy like your intestines. And so when you get a bunch of that out, then stop drinking it. But I think addressing mucoid plaque first as sort of an initial thing, you know, after you've addressed your diet and you're getting some good herbs and tinctures in you, go after that mucoid plaque. You're on the distilled water, go after the mucoid plaque and start clearing out that small intestine, because that's that area that's difficult to get into. You know, we can get in here and we can get up there, but that middle place is difficult. So then after that, this is my favorite cleanse. I've been doing this cleanse for years. Okay, but what I discovered recently is I need to address mucoid plaque, because the gallstones that you push out of your liver can get stuck in your mucoid plaque and retoxify your system. So really essential to address the mucoid plaque. But then you're going to want to get into this liver and gallbladder flush. It's a book by Andres Moritz. It's a German dude. And this has been around forever. A bunch of you probably already know this cleanse. And it is going to push waste and toxic stuff out of your liver. And if you're, you know, we're all going to be addressing all these parasites. We've got the liver flukes are going on in there. This is one of the largest organs of your body. It's huge. It's a huge part of your body and your digestion. So, and it's full of green bile. So this is a really easy cleanse to do. It's a 6-day cleanse. It does not involve a lot of fasting or anything like that. You can eat during this cleanse, but you have to eat a particular way. Obviously vegan. You can't have anything chilled. And then there's basically just one 24-hour period where you do the flush. Now, he says you can have some food on that final day early in the morning. I recommend no food that day for an optimal flush out. But the one thing about this cleanse is that once you start doing it, you really need to repeat it. So you need to do it once a month or once every other month and start flushing out your liver, because, like I said, your liver's huge. It's full of bile ducts. So you flush it, and then everything that was back in the back or down at the bottom moves forward in those bile ducts and comes forward. So you have to keep flushing it and keep flushing it and keep flushing it. Eventually your gallbladder will release the stones and stuff that sit in there. I have known older women who have avoided gallbladder surgery doing this cleanse, blew their doctors away. So this, address the mucoid plaque and start doing this liver cleanse. It's awesome. Your skin, it'll look amazing. It'll look amazing. So the other thing is the enemas. So I'm going to show you my little bucket. This is my little enema bucket. These are like 30, 40 bucks on Amazon. Oh boy. So I need to finish up here because people are here. Darn it. Maybe I can pause it. Okay, this is the first time I'm going to actually splice 2 videos together because that got interrupted and I was almost done. So we're looking at the enema bucket. Enema bucket. Don't be shy about doing this, you guys. This is, you're not going to get yourself completely cleared out, especially of biofilms, if you don't go up the other end. And they're really easy to use. Once you get used to it, it's no big deal. I use, this is one of my common ones. Oh, I should show you this. This stuff. So this is an enema that I made this morning. You kind of want them to sit around a while because you want stuff to dissolve. I put Himalayan salt, lemon juice, and baking soda in mine, which is really good for removing biofilms. Okay, that particular recipe. And you want to get a baking soda that is aluminum free. You don't want the just like Arm & Hammer baking soda or whatever. You want to buy a more quality baking soda. That's essential. You want your ingredients to be as pure as they can possibly be. And I will say that if you do end up doing that more hardcore thing, that you get that Herxheimer response, this is going to be your best friend, because it like shuts down your system, and it just makes all of it harder because you can't get the die-off out of you. And what the Herxheimer isn't just die-off, it's like more died off than your body can process out. So if you do end up with a Herxheimer or a die-off response from a Parasite Protocol, you want enemas, you want a sauna, chlorella. I'll show you what that looks like. You know, one thing you can take every day in the morning on an empty stomach is a little bit of diatomaceous earth. It's also a binder, and it slices up parasites in your system that it can get to, the ones that it can get to. It's a really good way to keep your system clear. So this is chlorella, and you know, it looks like just little, these are kind of the bigger version of it, just little green pills, and these are a binder. And so whatever toxins that your body is trying to deal with, it grabs and pulls out of your system. Never gotten through it without the chlorella. And I do that fascia blasting I've showed you guys before. I take chlorella every time I do that as well, because it releases toxins into your system. So this stuff, I mean, just take it every day. It's going to help you deal with toxicity on every level. It's going to make it easier for your body to release stuff. So the chlorella, the diatomaceous earth, the enemas, saunas. I'm just trying to think of the stuff that helps with the Herxheimers. You know, coffee enemas are great, and they make a special kind of coffee. Like if you go on Amazon and get a bucket, buy the bag of coffee that's made just for enemas. I mean, people cure themselves of cancer and stuff with coffee enemas and the right diet. So it is really, really, really good stuff. Clears you out. And that is what we're going for. Get this crap out of our bodies. So one of the people I got some of the recipes from was a website called I Love Iodine. And iodine is also another great thing to add to your protocols as well. I didn't agree with everything she said, but so the last thing I want to mention about food is yeast. And this is where I'm at with food, is I now see that yeast is a parasite as well. And it is in freaking everything. And it is also part of the health movement. I'll really quickly say I do not condone urine therapy. I'm super not into it. Sorry, guys. I think and I have researched it. I do know the supposed health benefits, but it's no better than distilled water. You might as well just drink pure distilled water. I think there's a few things within the health industry that wants you to have, be thinking is healthy, and it's not. It's deception. And part of that is yeast, and part of that is this urine therapy. And it's fine if we disagree on that. That's everybody gets to do the thing that they feel like works for them. I'm just going to say that I'm not into urine therapy. But the yeast, so they're selling this idea of like healthy bacteria, and the more I research into it, I'm not buying it. So apple cider vinegar, I'm gonna not ingest that anymore. And then the sprouted grains and this stuff is the stuff I'm trying to get away from now. I'm trying to get to make my own breads and my own stuff like that, because I can make it yeast free. And yeast is a living thing. Like if you're not wanting to eat living things that are animals or insects or whatever, yeast definitely falls under that category. And I'm talking about like fermented foods, because somebody mentioned a fermented food fast, which I was like, oh, that's, I've heard that's so good, all this good bacteria for your system and stuff. And the more I read into that and researched it, and I think it can be a stepping stone for somebody if you want to turn to that for a little while as a way to adjust from one thing for another, do it. I mean, this is me going to the extreme here to say no yeast, okay? Good luck with no yeast. It's hard. Coconut aminos, lemon juice are a way to replace vinegar because yeast is in kombucha. It's in, kimchi, all those fermented foods. Obviously, beers and stuff like that are filled with yeast. And it is sort of the last stand of the parasite within the vegan diet, or plant-based diet, as far as I'm concerned, is the yeast. And it is pervasive. So that is what I'm trying to eliminate from my diet now. And we can see from doing the hardcore drench that anybody who still puts a lot of yeast into their body kind of gets the backlash a little bit more than the people who are trying to have less yeast in their system. So we've seen that the yeast is relevant in all of this. It is part of it. It's so funny. I wrote things down here that I'm like, what is that? I don't even know what it is. So I'm just going to say we covered enough to start up a good conversation. Castor oil, it's another good thing. You can drink it. Bitricide. Anyway, one thing I want to say before we stop here is that cats are one of the most parasitically infected animal pets that you can have. They actually have a brain parasite, and it's really gross once you look into it. It actually makes you love them more. It's really weird. But basically, like if your cat goes outside, if your cat like is a hunter and hunts birds and rats or mice, it's really going to have this parasite. And that your cat uses a litter box, that is all over your house because they go in that litter box and then they're all over the house and they're all over you and they're on your bed. And so a cat is the most parasitic animal that you can own. So if you have a cat and you love your cat, which I know people have cats and love their cats, I'm not saying dogs don't have the ability to spread parasites either, but we have to use caution around our animals because we do have predatory animals for pets, and this is a relevant part of having the parasite within us. So maybe get your cat to go to the bathroom outside. I don't know. I was trying to think of like how, and especially if you clean the litter box, maybe put gloves on your hands. If you can like wipe your cat's feet off after it uses it. I don't know how far you want to go, but it is a big part of why some people have this brain parasite. It's pretty common. So just to be informed, just so you know that that's a relevant aspect of this. And I promise to do more research into all of this and share what I learn. I just really wanted to get this video out and get the conversation going. And, always read my comment section because I have really great subscribers who leave all kinds of like more information about everything I said or whatever I left out. They'll put something, they'll make a comment about it. So the conversation will go on in the comment section here. And my next video is going to be about bigger picture stuff and what's really going on here and where we really are and how they're doing this. But I really wanted to talk nitty gritty with you guys and let you know what I did. When I was first doing it, it was a little hard for me to talk about it. I was really in it. And now I'm starting to feel like really healthful and really through the worst part of what we all went through with trying to kill off the parasite. And this is going to be an ongoing process. Here we are. We're in the filth. So this is a lifestyle. This is about cleanliness. And this is about what you're eating, and this is about protocols. We got to address this to get our voices back, our sight back, our function back. So, IUE. We'll talk again soon.